Hello Bitzbrew, it's Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk here, and once again I am joined by Katie.
Hello.
So this is number 6 in our Hobby School series, and in this video we're going to be painting some skin on a couple of our Space Marines. So we're just going for a basic Caucasian white flesh for this one, and I do have a couple of videos on the channel for other skin tones, which I'll put a link down in the description below for if you want to check them out. But yeah, this is just a very basic, the sort of most simplest way that I paint Caucasian flesh, and we're going to do that on our Space Marines. So we've got a couple of different Space Marine miniatures that aren't quite up to the same place as the ones we've been doing previously. They've only just really had their base coat of blue, but we're going to get the heads painted on these, so they both have their head. Hopefully you can see them okay on here. Someone wants to zoom in a little bit. So yeah, you can see its face there, and I'll try and work these lights out as best as I can. So we're going to start by base coating them with Bugman's Glow, and we're going to thin this down as always with a little bit of water. Now we've got some new water for our water pot, because in the last episode we were painting with metallics, and it's always a good idea to clean your water out after using metallic paints, otherwise you get little bits of metallic flakes all floating in there. It's even better just to have a separate water just for metallics. So yeah, I'm going to just thin this out a little bit, and we're probably going to need a couple of thin coats here as we're going over black.
This paint's really thick.
Yeah, unfortunately that's quite a thick one. There's a base paint as well. So it does need some thinning out. Now his hair I'm probably just going to paint the same way we did black a couple of episodes ago. And this guy, he's got a mask on like the bottom of his face, but the rest of it is exposed. Okay, so that's how they're looking after the first coat. So, yeah, I'll let these dry. I'll apply a second coat, and then we'll be back for the next step. Okay, so this is how they're looking now. We've got that nice base coat down, just a couple of thin coats there. It's giving us a nice smooth finish. So, we're going to take some, not that one, we're going to take this one.
That one you need.
Yeah, some Cadian flesh tone. I'm going to get it in shot, there we go. And essentially we're just going to go over all this again, but this time with the Cadian flesh tone, because I want to do a sort of lighter skin here. And again, I thinned out a little bit, and if I hold it up to the camera you can see that's a lot lighter, but it's going over really nicely in just a single coat. So the reason we used the Bugman's flesh, Bugman's Glow, sorry, the Bugman's Glow, the reason we use that first is because we're going over black, and when you go over black, if you went straight over it with a layer paint such as the Cadian flesh tone, you might end up using a lot of layers to get to where we are now. So starting with the Bugman's Glow just makes this step a lot quicker. Of course, if you've started with a light grey or a white primer instead, then you can just go straight to your Cadian flesh tone and probably do it in a couple of coats quite easily. So move on to this next fella, and again the paint is thinned out a little bit.
That is going on really well, this is.
Yeah, I think it really helps
Really
having
smooth.
that Bugman's Glow down. I mean, that's just one coat of Cadian flesh tone on this guy, and it's, hopefully you guys can see alright on the camera. It's so hard for me to judge. I've mentioned this before. I have the camera here and I have the laptop screen. It looks quite dark on the laptop, but it looks really bright on the camera screen, so I don't know which one ends up getting outputted, but I try and brighten them up a little bit anyway. And obviously don't doesn't matter at this stage if you get the flesh tone on like some of the other areas. If I've already painted the metal areas, then be a bit more careful, but we sort of concentrated on the other marine that we've painted earlier in the series that we haven't got round to doing these other ones. Yeah, we've only done the base coat and the wash on them, so I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it anyway, so yeah, we haven't got to the edge highlights or the metallics or black and white yet. Not
That was
on
a
any
good
of them.
job.
Yeah, but hopefully before the end of the series we'll try and get them all finished. It's just finding the time to do so, but yeah, so I'm going to give this skin plenty of time to dry, and yeah, I'm really happy with how we've got here, because I think the important thing when you paint skin, especially faces, is that you need to get the paint as smooth as possible. Just keep the thin coats, because as soon as you start obscuring detail, you're going to notice it. And yes, skin isn't as forgiving, especially faces, and they don't forgive you like other areas might. So yeah, hopefully, even at this early stage, some of you new painters are finding this useful, and we'll be back for the next step. Okay, so next we're going to add a shade to these, and you're probably no surprise that we're going to use Reichland Flesh Shade. That's what the name gives it away. Just going to use it straight from the pot, but not going to overload the brush too much. We just want to spread this around. Especially on this guy, because there's a lot of detail, but just spread it around. Now this will darken down with a flesh tone, which is why I went into the Cadian flesh tone. But it brings out all that detail in his face, as you can see. And that's essentially what we're going for before we lighten it up and add some highlights. But yeah, just doing a very sort of thin coat spread around, and that'll dry nice and quick for us as well. So on this other guy, there's not as much detail, but you'll sort of get into the eyes and that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this stage. It's just a case of waiting for it to dry. Okay, so they're pretty much dry now. And we're going to go back with the Cadian flesh tone, so this one here. Go back with that. And we're just going to thin it down just a little bit more than we did before. And we're going to go over most of the flatter areas again, leaving all that Reichland Flesh Shade, sorry. Leave all that just in the recesses. This might be a little bit too hard to see on camera because it's quite thin down. It's going to be quite subtle here, but so I'll just lighten the flesh up a little bit. It'll be a bit easier to see on this other guy. So I'm using a smaller brush here now. I'm using a 00 brush. So you need to be a bit more careful with it. You can sort of see where the light's sort of hitting the head. But yeah, I get most of the raised areas. And just being as careful as I can with it. Don't use too much paint on your brush. And yeah, it just sort of lightens this up just a little bit. Like I say, I don't know how easy it is to see on the camera. Hopefully it's not too bad. And sort of very carefully get that top lip. So yeah, and there's just one stage to go before we can say that the skin is complete. Okay, so the last step is to do pretty much the same thing as we've just done, but this time with Kislev flesh, which is a nice light flesh tone. And we're going to be a bit more selective about it though. So we'll put a little bit on our palette and we'll thin it out just a little bit more than we would normally, so it's nice and thin.
It's about the same as we just done with the other one, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much the same consistency we've just done.
Okay.
And then just have a little bit on your brush and get the brush to a nice point. And this time we're hitting the more sort of extreme areas, shall we say, so like the nose, sort of the top of the cheekbones, above his eyes as well. Hopefully you guys can see okay. Just above the eyes like that. His top lip as well. And essentially that's pretty much it for the highlights on this guy. So with the other guy, we definitely want above the eyes. And because he's got like a bald head, we can do a similar thing that we done on when we highlighted the blue on the backpacks, where we just do a sort of a round highlight on the top. But I'm going to thin out the paint a bit more, and then just sort of a little bit too much on the brush, but it's quite thin. And then you can just sort of do a circle of colour just on like the top of the forehead.
Just that front bit.
Yeah. And because it's quite thin, it'll be quite subtle when it dries. We'll just add that extra little highlight. Because obviously there's not much detail on his face being sort of bald. So yeah, I think you guys can see that on the camera. And when it dries, that'll be a little bit darker, so that'll blend a bit more in with the skin.
Cool.
But yeah, with that is essentially it, really, as simple as that. Now this guy does have a scar on his forehead, and one thing we can do with that, if you just want to go just a little bit further, just go back to your flesh shade, or you can use a red or something at this stage, and just have a little bit on your brush, and just sort of dab it on the
That's a good idea.
where the scar is, just to make that skin look a little bit darker where the scar is. But yeah, if you want the scar to be sort of more fresh, you could go with like a red or something like that. So it's entirely up to you. Just make sure it's very thin, like a wash consistency, and just have a little bit on your brush and just dab it on very gently. But yeah, it's just an extra little step you can go on if you've got scars and such on your miniature. But yeah, that's essentially that. Nice and easy, and I think they look pretty good. So, shall we see how Katie's got on with hers?
Not too bad.
Yeah, they look alright. Pretty much twins. So, I'll hold on to the light.
Normally skin is a pain for me.
Yeah,
This
so you
is
say you
great.
haven't painted a lot of skin.
No, it used to
Before.
come out like really gloopy, but then I think probably to do with the fact I wasn't thinning my paint down quite enough.
Yeah, I mean that is the trick really, and if you look at Katie's face now, that looks really good, so certainly no issue with that.
Yeah, I'm so happy with that.
With that there. And I think this is your other one, isn't it? So yeah. Looks really nice, done a very good job there.
Thank you very much.
I shall give them back to you. So yeah. So yeah, it seems like this has helped Katie out painting skin on her miniature, so I hope we can say the same for some of you watching anyway. I know not everyone who watches these videos are complete beginners. Some people just like to listen to me ramble on and such, but we'll switch back to the other camera, and oh, there we are. So yeah, actually quite quick and easy really. I sound shocked, like I haven't painted loads of stuff before, but normally I sort of paint stuff in larger batches, so maybe that's why it feels like this has been a lot quicker. And things are drying so quick because it's so humid. I think that's probably part of it as well. Like everything's drying so quickly, even the shade washes, so there's not been much waiting around, and around all these lamps as well. But yeah, hopefully if you have trouble painting skin, painting faces, especially if you're a new painter, then I really hope this video has been useful. And like I say, I'm quite happy with our results as well. They look
I'm
really
super
nice.
happy.
It's quite a good sort of
That's brilliant.
tabletop gives you quite a good tabletop quality standard with the flesh. So yeah. As I mentioned before, there's sort of like a few ideas we had. We're going to do like sort of lenses and screens and the eyes and stuff, and also painting a purity seal. So they'll be the next two in whatever order, and we'll go back to our original marine for that. So all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all again in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. You can also click that bell icon to be notified when a new video has gone live on this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that you may wish to check out, and a link to our Patreon page also. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.